just get real with yourself. And what is it? One of the biggest questions I always ask myself is like, what makes me happy? Without having to make everybody else happy, what makes me happy?
Welcome to the God, Money, and Sex podcast. My name is Raul Villacis, and I'm here with my beautiful host, Vivian Villacis.
So happy to be here.
So happy to have you, girls. Happy to have you. I'm coming back from a week working with my guys. We had the Next Level experience last week.
That was intense.
It was intense. Probably one of the most intense events that I had.
Yeah.
So you blessed us with your presence the last day, and you dropped some knowledge bombs that I want to share with the guys here. Listen to this. So one of the things that we always get, the question that we always get is, how do I get you, or how do you get me into the same page? Right? People always assume that we have to be in the same page. So I think that we're gonna just kind of demystify that today.
Okay.
To kind of let the listeners know that we were not always in the same page. So why don't we start with your story of like how did you come around? Like what happened that got you to come around to my crazy, vision of what I'm building here?
I think it's good for us to know that it's okay that we're not in the same page, and there is no right or wrong page. And I remember like when you first started your journey, how you were going into like all these different events and all this motivational conferences or marketing conferences, whatever it was. And then at the beginning, like you wanted to take me along. Like, Vivian, you got to do this, you got to learn this. And I would just look at you and think like, I didn't sign up for it. I don't even want to go anywhere. I'm good here. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. And not that you were saying that, but I didn't choose to change at the same speed that you chose to change.
I think that it's very important that everybody understands that everybody has to go through the same, especially if you're married or you're in a relationship. Everybody assumes that if you're a couple, then you have to go into the same path together. Like everybody assumes that if they're going together, they have to be in the same page. But I think that the biggest breakthrough that happened with you and I is that, we started going to different paths.
Yeah.
And we were together, but we were going into different journeys. And that started on, probably towards 10 years of being married. I think that the first 5 years is when you start really seeing who you are. And after the 5 years that you make it, and you start looking to see what your journey is, when your path is. But probably after 10 years of marriage, as a man, I think that as you evolve as a man or as a couple, you have to start realizing what is your path, right?
Yeah,
what's your
and
path?
I think that's what you did for me too. You allow me the time to figure it out, because I know at the beginning, like, it was really difficult for me to even understand, like, okay, what is it that makes me happy? What is it that I want to do? Who is it that I want to be around? Like, I loved the conferences that you went to, but it didn't really mean that was for me too. So then it allowed me the space for me to ask myself, like, okay, who do I want to be around with? What part of my life needs the growth process? And I think that conversation in itself is really hard, whether it's for a man and a woman. It was for me to say, like, okay, so I'm not just a mom, I'm not just a businesswoman, a housewife, whatever it is that you are. But then deep down, it's like, what can I do to make my life happier?
So you're looking for your own journey.
Yeah, and it had nothing to do with you. And it doesn't mean that I didn't want to help you or I didn't want to be with you. But what you wanted wasn't what I wanted, in the sense of growth, because we both had different sense of growth, and we both value growth, but we value it in a different time, in a different space. So I think we both gave each other the space for, like, you do what you have to do and allow me the space to do and to search for what I need to do.
So let's just give the listeners a little framework, okay? So,
Sure.
You and I have been together. It's going to be 20 years next year.
That's
I know
right.
You're excited about that because you want a 20-year anniversary,
Yeah.
like a remarriage or recommitment, right? You already
Yeah.
have everything planned out and what you want.
I just want a party.
You want a party. You want a party. So we had a party when we turned 15 years, and then you want another party at 20. So it's kind of like, do I see a repeat like every 5 years? Do I have to budget this for every 5 years now?
Yeah, sure, we do, because that's kind of like the renewing of our love, renewing of our vows, renewing of a new person that you're gonna like be with for the next 10, 15
See,
years.
it's
or
good
however long
questions
it
to
is.
ask, guys. If you
Yeah.
if you're married, it's a good question if you ask your wife, like, what is her expectations every 5 years? What are her expectations every 10 years, so we could prepare ourselves?
It's kind of like,
right?
your goal set for like every 5 to 10 years. So every 5 to 10 years, then we take our vows and we renew it. And then, like you learn so many things every 5 to 10 years of yourself and of the person. So why not celebrate it?
I'm with you. I'm with you. So let's
Okay.
take them back to the
Okay.
times that we were not really celebrating that much.
Okay.
Like the times where I'm like ready to walk out, and you were ready to walk out, and we were like really
Yeah.
done with. Like we were happy, and I would never say that we were in a place where we wanted to quit. I don't think we were ever in a
No.
place where you and I wanted to just separate or quit. I don't think that, I think that we give marriage and people, especially I think entrepreneurs, we don't quit. I think entrepreneurs, like, we just give it everything we have. I think that if you're an entrepreneur and you're working with your wife or your husband in a business, I would like to see the statistics of the divorce rate in entrepreneurs, because I bet you that there are lower statistics of entrepreneurs getting divorced, because we're some hard-headed people. I mean, I want to go in, and now I refuse to quit.
I would like to see that too, because at the same time, you're such a high level entrepreneur that you guys focus so much and are so committed to. Like, that's the great thing about men that I'm learning now, is like, you guys are so committed and so focused into something, but you tend to focus on the business.
And see, and that's what I'm going, because
then
like
what happens to the wife?
I never wanted to quit. Like, in
Yeah.
my mind, it was never about I'm gonna leave Vivian,
Right.
I'm gonna get divorced. Like,
I don't even think that was
never
in our
crossed my
mind.
mind.
Yes, you're
but
right.
here is the big thing that I want people to understand: that if you're married to an entrepreneur, or you're an entrepreneur, like, you will not leave, you will not quit, but you will be unhappy. And you will bend. And I meet so many men that are like, I'm not happy in my marriage,
Yeah.
but I'm willing to stay because I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
Or a woman who's like, I'm not happy in marriage, but I don't see myself getting separate. It's like that really, in my mind, is like, wow, imagine you're running a business and you have this empire, but you're unhappy. You're making money, but you're unhappy.
Yeah.
That's ultimate failure. Like, feeling successful and not being fulfilled
Yes.
is ultimate failure.
How insane is that? But at the same time, if we turn around and we take that commitment, we wouldn't have that many divorces.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was committed, but I wasn't happy. You were committed,
But I
you
wasn't
weren't happy.
happy.
But both of us were in the same place. And
Yes.
even though we're committed, and from the outside, the commitment showed, we had beautiful kids, we had
Yeah.
a big business, and nothing, seemed to be wrong.
Yeah.
But the unhappiness or the unwillingness to have these conversations
Yeah.
is what got us to the path of, at least for me, is like, I need to figure shit out on my own. I need to go into my path, my journey.
Right.
And as a man, we need to start realizing who we are without being married. And I think that's the space that I talk all the time. Like, you gave me the space and let me alone and said, okay, you go figure this shit out. I'm gonna take care of the kids, which I think, like, I want to honor you for that, because very few women are willing to really, like, step into that. And I think that you didn't do it on purpose. You did it just because, like, you have the babies, you have the kids, like, you do whatever you need to do, Raul. You travel,
Yeah.
you provide, you go fix whatever you think is broken. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna handle the fort until you come back and figure shit out.
And at the same time, I think I was there even trying to figure stuff for myself. Like, and the great thing is, like, for us is, like, especially for me, God was such a great foundation in my life. And when I wanted to quit, then I would remember, like, the promises that he has for us and say, like, okay, if he gave me these promises, who am I to question that? And it kind of, like, allowed me to, like, realign and say, like, what is my journey? If it's not with Raul, like, what is it that I want out of my life? What is it that I want my kids to see? What is it that I want, like, when they see mom, who do I want them to say that mom is? And I never wanted them to think that I'm a quitter. Like, I never wanted to quit in my marriage, because that is part of me. Like, I love you. I loved being married. So it allowed me to realign, have a real conversation with you, and then figure out, like, okay, we're committed to each other. What else can we commit to?
And I think that's where the threshold of pain came in. Like, I had enough pain that
And
my
so
pain,
did I.
and I thought my
Yeah.
pain was gonna get solved by just building a bigger business,
Or drinking.
or partying, or
Yeah.
at least having the idea that this was gonna be as good as it was gonna get. So
could
I'm
be.
gonna have my fulfillment, like in my business and doing what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I was gonna settle for being comfortable. And I think that's where the worst place for a man to be is to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I truly believe that a man is either growing or he's dying.
Yeah.
And if he's not growing in his personal experiences or personal growth as a man, then he's going to reflect that in his woman, reflect that in his children, and he's going to be unhappy.
And it's the same thing for the woman, because if, the minute that I wasn't growing, I feel like, like we are this amazing foundation that takes hold of everything. Like we make decisions for everything, whether we want to or not, whether they're big or small, like everything revolves around us. And when you're not in that loving vibration, like everything else falls or fails or just crumbles.
And let's take it back. So now I went to like a seminar, personal development event, and I kind of found the path that I wanted to go in.
Yes.
And automatically I come back and say, babe, you got to come with me. You got to see this guy. You got to go walk on fire. You got to do this. And what was your response at that moment?
Hell no, I didn't sign up for it.
Yeah, it's like,
It
you do your
wasn't me.
crazy shit. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not willing to do that. And then automatically as men, we feel like we're getting shut down. Like, because we have this belief that I want everyone to do what I'm doing. I found this hack. I found this idea. I found this opportunity. I want everyone to accept me.
Yeah.
And that is, as a man, that is where it proves your commitment to yourself. Who are you when nobody else is behind you? Who are you when your woman says, no, I'm not going to support you? Yeah. Who are you when the market says, no, I'm going to support you? That's when I think for me, that's the moment I said, okay, I need to do this shit for me.
Yeah.
And I went to another one, and that's where I started getting a little stronger, stronger, stronger.
And I think that was a great foundation for me to see too, because you've done so many things. Like you're such a high level entrepreneur that loves to do different things, like always wants to do something. But then when you started doing this thing and whatever it was, and it was life changing, and I actually saw the change in you, then it made me believe like this is not going to be just another gimmick. This is not just another adventure. This is not just another experiment that he's trying out. This is for real. So then it also gave me the stability to know, the certainty that, okay, he's really going to try something new. Then what can I do to try something too?
And that goes with the consistency.
Yeah.
As men get they get shut down every time they have a new idea, they have an opportunity, and they get shut down. Mm-hmm. And then from a man's perspective, you have no idea what the woman does to a man's ego. There's no more powerful force than a woman. So in the moment that you're not supporting your husband, or like at least for me, the moment that you didn't support me, it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
It could have gone either way. I could have just, and it didn't. In the past, it has.
Yeah.
In the past, when I wasn't strong enough,
yeah,
I just play small. I came back with my tail behind my legs, and it was until I had enough pain that I said, fuck it. If she doesn't support me, I'm gonna do what I need to do.
And I think that's what happens to a lot of the guys nowadays that we see, especially with the men that we talk to in your conference. It's like the women are so strong that, excuse me for saying this to the audience, but it is, explicit parental advisor here. They take their balls away, and it's like they put it in their pockets, and all of a sudden, like the guys have no balls, so they have no decision making, and all of a sudden, like they're blaming each other why stuff is not coming together. It's because it's up to you guys to make that decision.
But here's what I think. I don't think the women take the balls away from the guys.
You hand them over?
I believe that we hand over our balls to you.
Yeah, that could be.
Because that's a big difference. I mean, I look at a guy. Here's what happens. We keep our balls and we take our balls to the marketplace. And we are badass businessmen in the office. We're badass, businessmen with in the market and with everybody else. The moment we come home, we bring the balls and we hand it over to a woman.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that when men are out there, like I just had a conversation last week with a guy. He's worth over, $100 million, and he's doing all his shit. And then all of a sudden, he's like, Raul, I'm gonna come to your event. I'm gonna come to your event. I said, all right. But then he forgets, he checks out, and he doesn't come. Like his balls shrink. And it's the pattern. Yeah. And he's looking for a woman to, like, he's not married. He's looking for a woman. I would never say anybody's name, and don't worry if you listen to this, I still love you, man. But it's a pattern. It's a pattern. We check out. Like the worst place for a man to be is not to make a decision and follow through. Mm-hmm. Fuck, man, if you make a decision, follow through. That's all. Like that's what it means for a woman to trust a man, whether it's right or wrong. Make a decision, follow through, own your balls, and little by little, you're gonna own it to the point that you're gonna realize that women don't want to have the balls.
That's right. And the only reason I'm thinking back, like for me, like when I did that with you,
When I handed it over,
yeah,
when I hand over
or
my
I
balls,
took them is because I was scared. You know, it's just a fear factor of not knowing what's going, you know, like I didn't know what's going to happen. So I'd rather be sure, and I'm going to make the decision. I'm going to have the control. I'm going to make shit happen. But the truth is that brought me more pain. And then when I realized, like, this is not who I am. Like, here, take it, do what you need to do with them. Let me figure out what I can do.
Because the balls have power. The balls go with a lot of pain.
They do.
So here's
Here's
the realization. Like the reason that, you know, I handed over my balls to you is because I didn't want to hear that nagging fight or the nagging sound, or like, I'd rather say, here, babe,
Do what you gotta do.
Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna do what I need to do. And that's what men do. We go to the path of least resistance. And we said, okay, if I have to just give you my balls for the day, I'll give them to you, because I'm gonna take my balls tomorrow and I'm gonna go conquer my business. I'm gonna conquer the market, and I'm gonna feel good owning what I need to own. And when I come home, it's okay if you have them.
Yes, but then the minute I started to see that is not getting us anywhere, and it's only bringing me more pain, and it's only bringing me farther apart from what I wanted, was to have a connection, to have the polarity, to have all these things between you and I. And it was like, okay, again, there was enough pain for me to say, this is not what I want. This is not what we deserve to each other. Like, I don't want to take something away from you that doesn't belong to me. I want to be me. Like, what belongs to me? What part of me can I grow?
That's where both people have to take a different path.
Yes.
And
we did.
That is where you have to realize, okay, we're both in two different paths together.
Yes.
That we need to figure it out by our own experiences.
Yeah.
Who we are. And as a man, I took my balls back. I said, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna execute on here, and I'm gonna do what I need to do, whether you agree with me or not, whether you're happy or not. I need to follow through, because I know that there is a bigger purpose. And I had no idea. I mean, I'm not talking to you thinking I'm a genius. I just had enough pain. I just didn't want that pain anymore.
Yeah.
And that pain took me into that journey. And as a couple, we went into two different paths.
Yes.
I went into my growth path, and then just because I was growing, it didn't mean that you started to grow.
No, because my path took a little bit more time. And my path for me was more like the sobbing, the feeling bad for the little girl, the feeling bad for the person that gets left behind. And then it kind of like, it went from that to like, okay, I'm pissed off. Like, I don't want to be left behind. Like, what about me? I'm my chopped liver here. And then it kind of like, that madness gave me the strength to say like, okay, what else do you want to do, Vivian, for yourself?
Because imagine, I'm coming back from an event that it was an epic event. I'm full of life. I'm full of like a vision. I'm going to create this kingdom. I have this vision. I'm going to do this. I'm going to double down. And then I get home and I have a pissed off wife, somebody that doesn't want to change, who refuses to be on board.
Yeah.
And so what changed for you to now be on that, like in the same path? So what happened during that moment? What was the threshold that got you to realize, okay, I need to do something?
Well, like I said, what changed was having enough pain. So it went from like feeling sorry for myself, and then feeling mad and angry, and using that anger to like do something different. And then I think mostly was like associating with different people. So the people that I was hanging out with maybe no longer serve me at that moment. I love them for, what they did in my life at that point, but I had to get out of my comfort zone and then go look for other people.
And that's the key, getting out of your comfort zone, because you were very uncomfortable when I gave you my balls and you hanged on to them, right? The moment that I took them back and I said, I want to use them and I'm going to hold on to them, then you have to get out of your comfort zone to tap into who you are and tap into find out who you are. And then she gave me you gave me the space to find out the path that I was in. And then I also realized that I can't save you. Like, one of the things that I teach, my clients, like, you cannot be the savior in the family. You can't save your kids. You can't save your wife. You can't save your employees. You can't save your customers. Like, if you believe in God, there was already one savior, and that's it. We're done. Like, all you need to do is lead. And as a leader, you need to lead by example.
Yeah.
So my choice was like, if you're gonna be pissed off, you're gonna be pissed off, but I'm gonna still gonna do my thing.
Yeah, if it's not pissed, I think it has nothing to do with you. Then I realized like I was pissed off at so many things that I wasn't doing for myself. So the minute like us women, we get pissed off and we start taking it out on our husbands because they're kind of like the first ones that are there. When you were gone, then I would start taking it out on my kids or the employees or, you know, my relatives, whatever it was. So it's like, just get real with yourself. And what is it? One of the biggest questions I always ask myself is like, what makes me happy? Without having to make everybody else happy, what makes me happy?
And that was a crucial moment. Like I stopped trying to make you happy.
Me too.
You stopped trying to make me happy.
Yeah.
And then we realized that if we come together full, like you being on your own and me being on my own, then we'll come together. It just becomes a beautiful synergy because, you know, I truly believe, you know, we don't complete each other. You're not my better half. I'm not your better half. I'm a full like being.
You. I believe that we enhance each other.
And when we come together, we actually become more enhanced when we are whole.
Yes.
But if I come to you doing something half-assed, or you come to me doing something half-assed, we're gonna be two half-assed one beings, right?
Yes.
So the message is like, you know, when people always ask us like, what do I need to do to get my wife on board with my vision?
Yeah.
It just fucking show up.
Continue to
show up. Continue to show up.
Consistency was the key. And I think also allow her the space to grow because that's what you did for me. You allowed me the space to really like find my journey, find my rhythm. Your rhythm and my rhythm are completely different. And
completely different.
I think you guys
completely
need to understand that we go through so much more than you could ever imagine. And you being there with a space of no judgment and no nagging and no wanting.
But it's hard.
No, like, forcing.
But it's hard because there were some times and some days that I like it was like, fuck, when is this gonna end? Right?
Or when is something gonna happen?
When is it gonna happen? And you know, like I think it's has to do with it's same thing in business. I mean, like
because you guys are so result driven.
We're,
it's like
we're very result driven, and we take it personal.
What's the point? What's the problem?
We take it personal. If you're not getting the results, and if you still feel like you're not doing, you know, I take it personal.
Yeah.
So it was just, I guess, the detachment of realizing when the moment I started looking at you as, okay, she needs to figure her own shit out.
Yeah.
I need to figure my own shit out.
Yeah.
And we need to just continue to be. Continue to grow at the same time, or you grow at your own pace and I grow at my own pace. I mean, look, this has taken us to do this, even this podcast. I mean, look how long I've been doing it. I've been doing the Next Level Experience for the past 4 years. I've been talking since the beginning. Obviously, I brought you in. I said, I want you to coach women. I want you to like coach, you know, this and that. And it took 4 years for you to get comfortable into this space.
And now I'm so happy to be in the podcast and to be here with you.
And you're natural and you're like enjoying this, that force.
Yes, you're right. But you allowed me my space because if you would have forced me, then you would have just, you know, taken me back another 4 years because you're forcing me to do something that I don't want to do.
And there's been times that I've made the mistake of forcing you to do something and I've learned because every time I remember the first event that we had and I put you in the stage and like never again. I want to be in the stage.
Yes, I have stage fright just from my husband.
But after that, I mean, you did amazing. I mean, the last event, people always say that your talk, your insight, and the way that you communicate is just, that's the blessing that they get. That it might, like my program is good, but when you come into the room, it just excels 10 times better.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming around. I appreciate you trusting in the process. And if you listen to this, just know that, you know, getting your wife, getting your partner, getting in the same page, it's just a process. It's a journey. I mean, just like in business, man, you're not going to make money. You're not going to be a millionaire overnight unless you rob a bank.
No. And you know what I love? Like what we said the last time or a couple of times in one of the conferences that came up, it was like, if you think of your relationship as a partnership, it's like, what part can you take in the relationship to make it better? And I think that's how we look at our relationship now. And even though we've gone through our different journeys and we're still searching and learning, we still come back together because we know that there's a part that we take in the partnership. And we all are so individually different and so unique and so perfect, but we can still come together to make something so magical happen.
And it's different. Because you and I were complete different, like personalities, night and day, but we make it work because we're willing to commit to finish what we started. So thank you, babe, for being in this podcast. If you listen to this, make sure that you go to iTunes, you go to SoundCloud, you go to YouTube, and just go to Got Money and Sex, and make sure you subscribe, you like. If you're watching us through Facebook Live, let's give a couple of shout outs. We got Ruben Luna watching. Shout out to Jorge Pantaleon. We got Teresa. We got Ken. We got a bunch of you guys. Belinda, Ray. Just please comment, give us some questions so we could address those questions in the next podcast. But every single time that I get to this with you, babe, I'm blessed. Thank you for continue to bring in the light into this tunnel that we're in. The Got Money and Sex podcast.
I love you.
Learn it, live it, experience it. Love life.